Management Group 15, presenting on horizontal versus vertical integration.
Let's start with the definition. Horizontal integration is the acquisition of business activities that are at the same level of the value chain in similar or different industries, and that let a firm expand its market or enter new markets. A company may do that through internal expansion, acquisition, or merger. When all producers of good or service in a market merge, is the creation of a monopoly. If only a few competitors remain, it is termed an oligopoly. Now we are going to talk about some of the benefits that a company may experience from using horizontal integration. The creation of economy of scale. The creation of economies of scope. Cost synergies, such as for marketing, R&D, production, and distribution. It helps to increase product differentiation, as synergies can also be realized by combining product or markets. Diversifying product offering may provide cross-selling opportunities and increase each business market. Horizontal integration may allow a company to take a larger presence in an industry, and it helps firms to reduce horizontal competition in the form of competition from substitutes, competition from potential new entrants, and competition from established rivals. This strategic move may allow a firm to engage in monopoly pricing. It allows for horizontal alliance. This is where two firms enter into an agreement with a contract to help production of each other's goods, but remain independent. Now, the risk. Potential legal trouble. Decreased value of a firm if mergers aren't synergistic. Reduced flexibility. Larger corporations, in fact, can sometimes be harder to manage, also due to different culture. There are also risks to consumers. In fact, when horizontal mergers succeed, it often at the expense of consumers, especially if they reduce competition. If horizontal mergers within the same industry concentrate market share among a small number of companies, it creates an oligopoly. If one company ends up with a dominant market share, it has a monopoly. This is why horizontal mergers are heavily scrutinized under antitrust law.
Let's look at American Airlines, the largest airline in the airline industry. For airlines, horizontal integration is basically the only way that companies can gain a competitive advantage over their competition and increase their market share. The airline industry is homogeneous in terms of products offered, and it would be too costly to vertically integrate their manufacturing process to increase the size of their fleet. The only way to differentiate in the industry is to either price differentiate through quality or volume through airway acquisition. In an industry that is characterized by minor differentiation, this market share growth and company growth are achieved through acquiring other airlines and consolidating their services under a parent company. For example, American Airlines merged with US Airways in 2013 under the American Airlines name to form the largest airline in terms of traffic measured by revenue passenger miles and available seat miles. In 2018, American Airlines boasts the largest industry market share at 18.1%. At the time of acquisition, American Airlines held a 12.9% market share, and US Airways held an 8.1% market share. After the acquisition, American Airlines controlled 21% of the airline industry, a major jump for the company. This acquisition added 4 new major hub cities for American to operate in, as well as doubled their number of daily flights. This acquisition significantly improved their revenues and increased their market share. So how is this acquisition an example of horizontal integration? Horizontal integration is a strategy used to strengthen a company's position in a given industry. Horizontal integration is used to grow companies in size, increase product differentiation, reduce competition, and reduce access to the market. And since the airline industry is characterized by low levels of product differentiation, Airlines have found that acquisition of other airlines is the most effective way for them to differentiate their product offerings and increase their market share. Since the product offered for all airlines is the same, the only way to differentiate is to offer this product at more locations than the competitor, at lower prices than the competitor, or at higher quality than the competitor. Airlines have been able to achieve these goals through acquisitions of other airlines. The acquisition of US Airways has made American Airways the largest airline in terms of miles traveled by paying traveler, which suggests that they are providing more flights to more passengers than any other airline. This means that they are the market leader in air travel, which means an increased market share. Also, through acquiring another competitor, American Airlines has reduced its competition. Some examples of industries that use horizontal integration are the entertainment industry, the hotel industry, and the food industry. Cisco tried to buy US Foods. However, this merger was deemed null as it would have given Cisco over 75% of the US food distribution industry. Under US antitrust laws, this was deemed as blatant formation of monopoly and thus nullified.
Now let's talk about another type of integration, vertical integration. To understand vertical integration, you first need to think about a product or a company's production vertical, or every step necessary to create and sell a product. Depending on the product, this generally ranges from the collection of materials for the project, the manufacturing of the product, the transportation of the product, and the sale of the product. Vertical integration is a business strategy which involves purchasing or taking over several or all steps of this production vertical. This means that if you own, say, a company that is selling shirts, in order to vertically integrate, you would need to start doing on your own or purchase the company that provides the material, the company that sews the material into shirts, and the company that prints the logos on the shirts. You would also need to transport the shirts yourself and sell them in your own storefront or website as opposed to a retailer. In this way, you could control each aspect of the production of the shirts and effectively be vertically integrated. So why would a company want to pursue vertical integration? You might be thinking that it would be easier for brands to continue to outsource. Well, there are a number of benefits of vertical integration, including reduced costs. When a company is able to acquire a part of the production process that is a firm in its core competencies and already has the relevant human and technological resources, the company is able to reach more efficient levels of productions and thus lower costs. Improved efficiency. Having control of the different aspects of the production process for industry allows a firm to more efficiently respond to any fluctuations in demand. A company would be able to make more informed decisions about how to allocate its limited amount of resources in a way that makes the most sense for the situation. Enhanced involvement. Vertical integration provides more control over secondary decisions that need to be made. Things like quality standards, pricing, marketing strategies, and product displays will all be made by one parent company. Ownership of intellectual property. A vertically integrated company would have the rights to any technological or intellectual advancements made by the divisions of the overall production chain.
While these are all strong points in favor of vertical integration, we also need to look at the deterring factors of a company choosing to vertically integrate. The first is that a firm moves away from established expertise and specialization. This risk of vertical integration is that a company must focus on and devote their resources to several different areas and production factors at the same time. Without vertical integration, the company would only have to focus on one core competency while relying on other companies to use their own expertise and specialization to focus on their part, which can lead to a higher quality product. Another risk that a company faces is the possibility of minimizing economies of scale. For most companies, it is cheaper to produce or manufacture the product in bulk. When a company chooses to do this part of the product's process on their own, they will only be producing the amount they need. This can be more expensive than purchasing or relying on a company that produces part or all materials for several different firms at a higher quantity and therefore lower cost. Let's look at Apple, one of the most well-known industry experts, to see how they've used vertical integration to reach their current level of success. For Apple, vertical integration means they dictate the end product as well as its component parts. Essentially, Apple is 4 companies in one. It's a hardware company in that it designs its own hardware, like the chips and screens in our products. A software company, it develops and updates its own software options. A service company in that it provides things like iTunes and iCloud, as well as a retail company. in that it offers its own unique retail experiences. However, there are some aspects of Apple's production process that are not completely vertically integrated. While the company closely controls the design and development of its products, it does not manufacture or assemble any parts of its product offerings. This area of outsourcing is what is keeping the company from reaching a full level of vertical integration. Should Apple decide to create its own warehouse or production facility and employ Apple employees to work the assembly lines or purchase the firms that currently put the physical products together, then it would be reaching a stronger level of vertical integration.